Hi, my name is Mark and welcome to Mindful Me. Today, we're going to be talking on the topic of worrying. Now, when it comes to worrying, it's safe to say that nobody likes to do it. But worrying does serve a purpose in our life. When it comes to worry, the function is pretty clear. It draws our attention to the fact that there's something going on, something we should be doing, preparing for, or trying to prevent, and it gives us the motivation to do that, which can lead to some really important choices in our lives. So is worrying a good thing? Yes, of course, to a certain extent. But if you pass the threshold of worry and you start worrying too much about things, that's when it becomes an issue. So let's talk about that. When you start worrying too much about things, what ends up happening is you become an extremely anxious person, which could lead to panic attacks. And then we go into what's called a feedback loop, which we'll get into later on. We don't want to go down that road. We don't want to start worrying so much that we start having physiological reactions within our body. And when that happens, we could safely say that worrying does not serve a purpose at all. In fact, worrying will become detrimental to our well-being. So let's discuss the difference between good worry and bad worry. Let me give you an example. A good type of worry would be, I have a job interview coming up. So I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I get this job. I'm worried about it. So because of that, I'm going to learn the company, know what they stand for and who they are and exactly what they do. Not only am I going to do that, I'm going to look at my resume and make sure that I know it like the back of my hand. And when I do go to the interview, I'm going to be presentable and give them the best me that I could possibly give them. Now, by me worrying about that, it has given me the motivation to give them the best possible me I can give them at that interview. So did worrying serve a purpose in that instance? Yes, it did. And that is why it is a good type of worry. Now let's talk about a bad type of worry. A bad type of worry can be classified as worrying about something that you have no control over. There is not anything that you can do about it, but yet you're consistently worrying about it. You have to ask yourself, does that serve a purpose? And the answer to that is always going to be no. Unfortunately, there are going to be things in life that happen that we have no control over, and there's nothing that we can do about it. Though we would like things to be different, the reality is that it is not different. It is the way it is, and there's nothing that we can do about it. Now, if there's nothing that we can do about a situation and it is out of our control, then we have to understand that worrying does not serve any purpose whatsoever. And we have to come to the realization that since there is no purpose being served, we need not to be involved in the process. So we need to stop worrying about it. Though we don't like it, we don't need to focus on it, because what we focus on is what we gravitate towards. And if we're focused on worry, guess what we're going to do? We're going to worry. And it's just that simple. It's really just that simple. So instead of worrying about stuff that is out of our control, let's take charge of what is in our control and do what we can to promote the best outcome. I think this is a good time to bring up the feedback loop. I know we spoke on it earlier. A lot of us engage in the feedback loop and we don't even know it. I call it the mental feedback loop. What's happening is that our anxious thoughts create anxious feelings in our body. And then these anxious feelings in our body fuel our anxious thoughts even more, creating an endless feedback loop between our thoughts and our feelings in our body. Do you see how worrying can cause more worry? This occurs and we don't even realize it. And we get stuck in this circle going round and round and round. You could see how the feedback loop isn't something you want to become engaged in. It's not something that is going to promote a better mental health. In fact, it's going to leave you worrying and then worrying about worrying. And then you weren't even worrying about what you were worrying about originally. You're just worrying about worrying. Does that make any sense to you whatsoever? I hope that's a no. Because realistically, when we worry, we should only worry about things we have control over, not things that we don't have control over. As we're coming to the end of this topic, I wanted to give you the best strategies for how to stop worrying. Number 1, mindfulness and meditation. Mindfulness and meditation focuses on the idea that you need to be in the present moment, to not focus on the past or the future. The past causes depression, the future causes anxiety, the present causes peace. Number 2, Deep breathing. I always go by the 4-second rule. Breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, breathing out for 4 seconds. While doing this cognitive behavioral therapy technique, this is going to help you to calm your nervous system. 3. Practice self-compassion. Self-love is so important. When we see someone else going through a hard time, what do? We come up to them, we give them a hug, we let them know everything is okay. When you're going through a hard time, you should do the same exact thing to yourself. 4. Share your fears with your friends and your family. Allow the people around you to know what is going on with you and create a support system. 5. Practice gratitude. When we're grateful for the little things around us, it creates a happy and helpful atmosphere, causing us to understand that there are things we need to be happy about. There are things that we're grateful for. And when we become grateful for the little things, the socks on our feet, to the air in our lungs, we're able to better appreciate everything around us. 6. Maintain an emotional journal. Write down everything that you're feeling. Write down everything that you're feeling. Get it out and put it down on the paper. You'll feel a lot lighter afterwards. 7. Maintain a consistent sleep schedule. Sleep is the number one thing when it comes to mood. If you don't get enough sleep, you are not going to feel well. So focus and maintain a consistent sleep cycle. I hope these things do help you in your journey. These are just a few things that you could practice in order to help you in your battle with worrying. Here at Mindful Me, we are always grateful that you come to work on your mental health. And like always, we hope you have a wonderful and excellent day, and we will see you again soon.